This was a dinner theater?
It was a dinner theater.
So your official duties were?
I was Ronco Rob. I was the MC, general entertainer of the thing, and then the showgirls who would. It was just kind of a thing like they have it here, the nights,
right,
medieval times, that kind of a thing. Only it was done in a Western setting.
So it wasn't a play or anything. It was a
scripted show, kind of. There was a lot of improv moments in there, which were my favorite. But yeah, Ronco Rob, welcome to the Dry Gulch. You know. And, you're going to have a hankering for some soup later. And I put on this big fat Elvis costume and come out and do an Elvis
I've seen
thing.
the fat Elvis.
And then the Johnny Cash costume and go and do a Johnny Cash comedy thing. And it was, and they said, yeah, the one. That's the one. But luckily, we moved on.
How long, Ronco Rob? How long?
Probably about 8 months.
That's a long time.
I left Ronco Rob to go down to Birmingham.
Did you now?
Yeah.
Is that what you were doing then?
It was a family-owned business, and they owned two things. They had the King's Manor, which was very much like medieval times, except without the jousting.
Do anything there?
More of a theatrical show. Yeah, I was the comedy there, too. I was the jester. And I wore yellow tights. But then I graduated, in just 2 months, Ronco Rob.
Sure, of course.
Over there at the Dry Gulch.
That's a big move, huh?
Oh, big move. Heck yeah. You're the main guy. You're MC now.
What was the smallest crowd you ever Ronco robbed for?
They were never small.
No.
These two things, when I was there in Chicago, one was in Irvine, one was downtown Chicago, was just the hugest thing. They were booked years in advance, literally 2 years in advance.
Wow.
And I think Dry Gulch held 500 people or something like that. And weekends we do 2 shows.
So this was no little thing. This was
and good money for a student. $70 per performance.
Wow.
And at least 6 performances per week.
Whoa! So that was good money.
That was great money.
You were living the sweet life.
And the beautiful, beautiful dance hall girls
were you taking advantage of that?
Oh heck no.
Yeah, man.
Right. Why would I even want to do that? No, it was just actually they're theater people. And this family was so great that owned this business. These are struggling commercial actors and actresses and wanting to get into showbiz. So if they had an audition or if they got a role in a play or if they have a commercial shoot, they're off. They're done. Fine. Leave and come back when you're done with it in a week or 2 or a month or whatever.
Wow.
So some great, I still have lifelong friends from that place. Just some wonderful, wonderful people. Funny and great.
Somebody somewhere has a videotape of that. Somebody who went to that was having their dinner and they videotaped.
I would love to see it.
So would I.
I don't know that one exists. But.
Oh, boy. Somebody somewhere's got it. We probably won't ever have connection with them, but there's a videotape of it somewhere. Ronco Rob entertaining the crowd. I'd love to be there and be a part of it.
One time I forgot my boots. So I'm wearing them, black vest, black shirt, black hat, black jeans, black gun belt.
Oh, yeah.
And docksiders.
It didn't mess up the performance, did it?
No, I don't think so. Not
Probably
at all.
added to it.
I made some fun.
Probably gave it some
There you go.
texture.
There you go. As embarrassed as you are about your, what was your name?
Jason Tyler.
Jason Tyler. When you first started getting into radio, they changed your name and all that. Today's temperature.
Good morning, everybody.
69.
Good morning, everybody.
I would be as embarrassed to see those things, those performances. But man, it was fun.
Ronco Rob activity. I've told y'all about the Elvis thing in Montgomery, haven't I?
Oh, the thing that you got me into?
Oh, my God.
We just started working together, and Mark came from an afternoon show in Montgomery, Alabama, and we were put together in Birmingham to be a morning show team. Well, he had a few engagements left when we first got together back in Montgomery that had already been booked.
Things that were already on the books, and so I was already in Birmingham with Brian, but I had to go back to Montgomery to do this thing in a lounge called Nitpickers, and I had to do this Elvis night. I was already scheduled for it, so I said, hey, come on down with me.
Well, it was an Elvis impersonation contest.
Right, it was. I was going to do 2 hours of Elvis music trivia questions, and then the big cap of the evening was an Elvis impersonating contest. He had told me about this fat Elvis suit that he had, and I said, hey, ride down with me. We'll hang out. We'll have some dinner. Enter the contest. Have some fun. We'll kick up. So he rides all the way down there with me. He brought the fat Elvis suit, and I had not yet seen it. I just heard about it.
Yeah.
I just heard about it. So I talk him into going to go down there.
Well, I figure, help out the new partner.
Right.
Sure. Good time for us to bond.
Absolutely. We get down there, and the very first thing I do is I check in when I get there to see who's entered into the contest. So far, entered in was a 10-year-old girl, another guy, a real legitimate Elvis impersonator, and 2 old women who did, I don't know what they did. So I went ahead, so I took the list, and then I added Brian's name to it, and I turned that in. I played the 2 hours of Elvis music, told the trivia question, 10 o'clock rolls around. I'm going to MC the thing. So I go back in the back where all the people are dressed and they're ready for the Elvis competition. All the people involved in the competition there, and then that was when that was what I saw for the first time. The Elvis outfit. The other Elvis participants weren't even talking to him.
They weren't even dressed. They didn't even have an outfit.
He was the only one, other than the real Elvis impersonator. He had a full-on rhinestone, the full thing. But Brian standing there, got the big fat belly hanging out. It looked like a wet Cocker Spaniel had climbed on his head and was sitting there.
This was the post just took a Elvis.
Now,
he was all sweaty.
When I first walked back, and remember, we're in Montgomery, Alabama, where, it's the Lord God, fried food, and the King, almost in that order. This is the importance of life. And I saw this, I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting. So
you could have gave me a little warning on geographically where I actually was.
This is where it gets cool. I told everybody, he call you out first, and everybody go in order, and Brian specifically was last, because... just because. Yeah. So the two ladies came out, and they did some sort of a clogging tap dancing thing to Love Me Tender. It was one of the most bizarre things I ever looked at. But the crowd was polite. And then the other guy came out, dressed as kind of like the Elvis jailhouse rock, blue jean jacket, had the moves down, pretty good. Crowd enjoyed him.
You know what? Let me just say, so far, the two ladies sucked, and that guy sucked. He was really terrible.
So then the 10-year-old little girl comes out.
He was lip-syncing.
He was. I understand that. Yeah. Little girl comes out, and she was decked out in the dress and the tap shoes and the curly hair. Made you want to smack her mother. And and why she was in an Elvis contest, I don't know. But she came out, she did that. Crowd was polite. And then the real Elvis impersonator came out and sang to his own music. He was good. Crowd really loved him.
I don't know how good he was.
And so now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please welcome our last contestant for the evening, Mr. Brian Phelps. Let's hear it for him.
All right, now I should say this, and I know you're going to use this, but I bring out props, hidden props when I do the Fat Elvis character.
And this is part of the story. This is part of the story. So I introduce him. He comes out from the back corridor, and he steps onto what it was the dance floor of the club. And he comes out, and the crowd is clapping, and then they see him.
This is 350 pounds of the fat suit in a white jumpsuit.
They get a shot of him. They see the built-in fat belly, the built-in fat butt, and they all at one time, it was like a movie, they stopped clapping. And he still had another 20 yards to walk to get to the microphone.
And being the consummate professional, hey, I've been in front of tougher audiences. I know I'll get them.
Oh, yeah. And you could read that on your face.
Absolutely.
The next 20 yards after they'd seen him and they stopped clacking, you could actually hear the clicking of his shoes on the floor. It was that quiet. And so he gets out there, he steps up to the microphone, realizing he has a tough scenario ahead, but being the pro that he is, he didn't go with what the crowd might like. He went with what he came to give them. And he started out with, and this was his opening line. "Oh, how you folks doing on my baby? So it's really good to be here, so you know how count I'm dead." I actually heard guns being cocked in the back of the room. And so then,
that was the warm-up joke that's worked everywhere else.
Now, that met with the silence that you can imagine. And this is where I really honestly fell in love with the man. At that point, realizing tough crowd, he again did not waver. He reached into his jumpsuit, and down inside the fat that was the King's belly, he pulled out a bag of chips and started eating.
Economy-sized bag of Doritos.
He packed them into his mouth, and then he started Elvis easing while he sprayed the front row down with Doritos chips.
Love me.
And then he said, I'd like to sing a song for you. I'd like to sing a song for you, and it goes something like this.
Wise men say
This is it.
only fools rush in, but I can't help stuffing my double chin.
At this point, the good old boys decided he needs to be removed.
Oh, my God.
And they started coming. And I just, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Brian Phelps. Let's hear it for him. Yeah!
Wait, I haven't finished the big finish yet. I haven't given him the big one yet.
I'm telling you, because at this point, the crowd they were liquored up pretty good and ready for a good show, and he was the last thing they saw. Oh, my God.
And just so you know, the little girl won.